Apologies if you guys were waiting. Running a little bit late here. Had to go run an errand that took longer than expected. There just aren't enough hours in a day. But I want to send a shout out to the man formerly known as Gorilla J. He's changed his name to Videl Carmenita. He doesn't like to put out his real name on the internet, and I don't blame him. You might have seen him in videos in the past in live streams. He's pounded pavement with us in Seattle, Washington. He's done it in Los Angeles. He's done it in New York. I don't think there is anybody else in the community that hit Seattle, New York, and LA. LA was a bit easier for him since that's his home city. But he's definitely put in a lot of work for the community. And when we were in LA, he was handing out a pamphlet that he put together. He created a calendar so people could understand the rituals and what to expect on dates. And I didn't realize that he rebranded as Videl Carmenita. But again, right here, he's got a new written workout teaching about the 47 code. And this is him. He still got his X account, thankfully. Of course, I got deleted from X at the beginning of the year, which was a bummer because I finally found a platform where I could get views again. I was getting 2,000 plus people a stream until I was deleted on January 27th. Of course, on YouTube, I'm lucky if I can get 200 people on the stream these days. But, yeah, shout out to Videl Carmenita. So if you guys are on X, he's at Videl Carmenita. Same spelling now on YouTube. And whenever he does do work, he puts out good work. So he did just put out a short on the Eddington movie trailer with some edits. And I know a few people have reached out to me. By the way, if you need to get caught up to speed, if you don't know, Eddington, Eddington, right here, this word on the screen. This is a movie that will release in theaters July 18th in the U.S. this year, 3 days before my birthday. It just premiered at Cannes on the 144th day of the year, May 24th. This was brought to my attention, this film, a couple months back or so by some people in the community. And again, the movie trailer definitely stole my exact quote and my words, educating about the significance of the number 56 and what was called the pandemic. And the trailer, if you still haven't listened to the Eddington trailer, the very first 5 seconds are very audible, but then that quote that you hear in the first 5 seconds runs through the whole trailer. The problem is the rest of the trailer has different audio over it, different talking, noises, so it's hard to make out everything in the background, but you can clearly hear it 20 seconds talking about Gematria. It's obvious that the idea for the movie was borrowed from my research and the things I've been presenting. And of course, I don't get any royalties for this. There's no mention of me in there. I wonder how many YouTubers have had movies made about them in their research to date. I'm sure it's happened before, but I imagine those people, they probably have huge channels, get lots of views, where yours truly, who's been squeezed down to nothing. We pretty much get no views over here, no recognition, and almost nobody's talking about this knowledge, which is sad because, you know, it had a huge buzz 8 years ago, and 8 years ago I'd already proven a lot, but we've proven way more since 2017, since 2018, and now we're not getting the recognition. And I think that's the real problem, is that we've proven and exposed too much. It's like, again, you know, in 2017, I had a book out talking about rig sports and how the number 41 defined Kobe Bryant's scripted career, only for him to die at age 41. And also backing up what I wrote on page 28 of nearly an 800-page book, that all of this leads back to Rome and the Catholic Church and the Jesuits, who gave us the calendar and the language as we know it. Of course, Kobe died while traveling from Catholic Mass on the Pope's 41st day of his age, dying at 41, when in Gematria, Kobe Bryant equals 41. But yeah, I'd like to see him get some more subs. Only 200 subs. He's been doing a good work, a lot of good work for a long time now, so it's kind of disappointing to see that he only has 200 subs. And I was definitely promoting his stream when I was down in LA, and he was right next to me. But yeah, I do want to play the little clip he put together here for people who need to get caught up on the trailer. I appreciate his efforts, and he gathered some clips from when we were down in Los Angeles. I'm trying to remember, was that all on the same trip? I think it was all in one trip. But yeah, we'll play a little bit of this, and then I'll tell you something else that I find interesting that I thought about after I watched this. So here's the clip that formerly Gorilla J, that was the name he went by before, Gorilla J, but now Videl Carmenita put together.
Watch closely. In the new Eddington trailer, Austin Butler's character says this.
Keep looking at that. Of course, they keep looking at that lab in Wuhan, China. If you look at that lab in Wuhan when that was established, it was 1956. Of course, that was the year Tom Hanks was born, the first celebrity with the virus, Mr. Sleepless in Seattle.
He name drops coronavirus. Tom Hanks, 1956. The exact same dots Zachary K. Hubbard connected years ago.
Yeah, just like Tom Hanks, born in 56, the first celebrity with the virus. Remember, 56, special number to the pandemic. In Gematria, Society of Jesus equals 56. That's important members of their network, like Gavin Newsom equal 56, like Anthony Fauci equal 56. Adam Peter.
I think he cut a lot of the 56s there for the sake of not getting censored. But of course, you know, the word itself, corona, virus equals 56. COVID, vaccine equals 56. Regeneron, 56. Toilet paper, 56. Remember how the toilet paper was sold out because of the corona? And a million other things. Again, the 56 list is really long. I noticed he did a cut there, and I'm thinking, yeah, he probably did that not to get a strike.
Lanza, the name of the Sandy Hook shooter. Adam Peter Lanza, 56. Funny enough, they put out a story about a man named Patrick Dragan, a first responder to Sandy Hook who was...
Again, I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or he cut something there, but remember Sandy Hook, the school established in 56, the shooting 56 years later, the shooter's name equals 56, the Pokey-dokes for COVID go live on the anniversary of the Sandy Hook shooting, and the first person who supposedly got the jab was Sandy Lindsay. And we just saw what they just did in light of it being Jesuits, aka Society of Jesus. You saw how the FDA just revised the shot protocol on Cannonball Day. Not to mention Cannonball equals 56. But the day to remember the shooting of the Jesuit leader, another shot joke.
Supposedly a hero. They said he died from COVID. Look up the image that they put out in the media of Patrick Dragan. He's standing next to a wall, and the number on the wall is number 56. Patrick Dragan died from coronavirus, the 56 virus, where Gavin Newsom said 56% of California will get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days.
No one else made those connections except Hubbard, using gematria, decoding truth through numbers. And yes, you can literally hear the word gematria in the background.
It's not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence.
Even the line, "It's not a coincidence," that's one of Hubbard's signature lines and messages.
Seriously, who wants to tell me it's a coincidence that LeBron James... I also want someone to tell me it's a coincidence that Lynn Dawson, the Chiefs quarterback, died on Kobe Bryant Day this year? Y'all really think that's a coincidence that LeBron wins the championship 41 weeks later? They said, wow, what a coincidence. Almost all the documents for the case against those companies were in Building 7 for another coincidence.
And check this out. For the nail in the coffin, movie Eddington drops on Zachary K. Hubbard's birthday weekend. That's not a tribute, that's a hidden shout out. They used his words, his research, even timed it to his birthday, but left out his name. What are the odds? Hollywood is mocking Zachary K. Hubbard once again. The character Austin Butler plays in the movie is named Vernon Peake. Vernon Peake and Zach Hubbard both match in gematria. These aren't coincidences, these are rituals.
All right, so I appreciate his effort. And then, you know, I started thinking about it because I was like, they're using Austin Butler, who again portrayed Elvis. Remember, he won the Golden Globe, and then right after that, Elvis's daughter died at 54, and Elvis's first concert was in 54, and he recorded for Sun Records, and Sun equals 54, and Jesuit Order 54, and their logo's the sun, and in alchemy, the sun is gold, so a Golden Globe is the sun, and Golden Globes equals 54. And don't forget, when they first reported that she was being hospitalized, I put out a video that day saying, I'm pretty sure she's going to end up dead. Clear sacrifice for the film. But again, Elvis, Austin Butler, who portrayed Elvis, Tom Hanks, the first celebrity with the virus who got sick filming the Elvis movie. Remember, Elvis ended up dying at 42, right? that film is coming out the weekend I turned 42. And I remember how important 42 is because Elvis got the polio jab on live TV on Jonas Salk's 42nd birthday, which was also the day Bill Gates was born. Well, actually, it was Bill Gates' first birthday that year, but it was the same day that he was born. It was just on Bill Gates' first birthday is the day that Jonas Salk turned 42, who invented the polio jab. And don't forget, the polio jab was first given out at Arsenal Elementary School. Arsenals have to do with militaries and weapons, just like it was Warp Speed, the military program to rush out the jab. But yeah, Bill Gates, he also operates out of Washington State, which is the 42nd state in order of statehood. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, yeah, it's also my 42nd birthday weekend. Young Jay says, is there any relation to Trump in the number 76? Yeah, there is, absolutely. We covered this in a big way many a times, especially since he was the first Republican to ever get 76 million votes, and his name, Donald John Trump, equals 76, but you might recall that headline about him being the first Republican president to get 76 million votes. It broke at the time of the Superior General's 76th birthday. Arturo Sosa turned 76 on November 12th. But yeah, if you just for a person like Young Jay, I appreciate the $5. Use my websites and use the search feature. You can use my old website, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com, where I bet there's information. But if you just type in, Donald Trump 76, it's gonna pull up things. Trump picks John Ratcliffe as CIA director on Arturo Sosa's 76th birthday. U.S. gas prices hit all-time high on Donald Trump's 76th birthday. Think about how 76 is a popular gas station brand, and it has an orange logo, like he's an orange goon. There's a lot more than this, but it's just my website will pick up things that are closest to the top of the post in the title. It's the way the search engine works, which isn't exactly great. But yeah, again, you could definitely find the 76 information, and I'm sure, like right here, it probably says that Donald John Trump equals 76. I guess I didn't write it down there, but I just assume people know because I talk about it so much. Yeah, his name, though, his full name, Donald John Trump, equals 76. 76, obviously, like right here, is just, it's going to be written down in a million different places. And then my old website for people who don't know, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. A lot of the posts from here have been deleted because Google's just been actively deleting posts day by day. I'm blown away by a lot of the posts that they have deleted because I'm like, why would they ever delete that? I'm sure someday this website just won't even exist. Doctor Who, episode 88, The Deadly Assassin. Man, I better go back and revisit this post myself. Anyway, there's a lot of old posts that could answer those questions for you. Is the point I'm trying to make. So, all right. Again, Videl Carmenita, he's on YouTube, he's on X, and he is a great supporter of the community. So give him a sub if you can. And let's see. Thank you, Trevor Pinkston, for becoming a member. Shout out to John Mendoza, always with the generous too. Young Jay came with another one. Young Jay, don't spend all your money in one place. I do appreciate the generosity, but your name says Young, so I'm assuming you are young. Save that money. He's running the same crypto up again, trying to figure out where it will hit again. Remember, cryptocurrency equals 78, like he's 78 years old. Trying to think, what's the date numerology today? It's May 25th, 2020. Wait, it's not May 25th, it's May 28th. 33, 58, 70. Today's actually the day with the 78 date numerology. What's it doing today? I'd pay attention today on the 78. Like we thought the Ripple coin XRP would have a great day on the 78th day of the year, and it did. The Ripple coin also equals 78 like cryptocurrency. But yeah, I haven't studied the thing you're talking about enough to know its patterns, but that does answer your 76 question. All right, so buzzing in the news right now, Shawn Kemp, one of the NBA's all-time greatest dunk artists. You know, if you grew up in the 90s, you definitely knew who Shawn Kemp was in the NBA, especially for all of us living out here in the Pacific Northwest. It was Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp and Detlef Schrempf. But anyway, Shawn Kemp yesterday pled guilty to an assault charge from a 2023 shooting. And to take you back to that, we covered it the day it happened. It's crazy the way time flies by. This was March 8th, 2023. Supposedly Shawn Kemp connected to a shooting in Tacoma, just south of Seattle. And I talked about that day how it was 102 days after his birthday. This number they put on Black History. It's like a black shaming ritual. But more importantly, it happened on March 8th, 3/8, when Shawn Kemp equals 38 in Gematria. So does Pierce, is in Pierce County where it happened at, just south of King County. And, you know, the other thing that equals 38 is finals, right? At the time, I wasn't thinking about this in an NBA finals ritual, but for anyone who follows us on Patreon, our team in the West we had this year for the championship was the Thunder. And why did we have the Thunder before the season began? I kind of gave it to you guys for free, too, at the start of the year, the day Fernando Valenzuela died. You remember that was the day that the NBA opened with the Lakers opener, father and son, LeBron and Bronny, with the Griffies attending, the last father-son duo in pro sports, and they played for the Seattle Mariners. And again, the Thunder used to be the Seattle Sonics, and the Sonics won the championship in 79, and this is the 79th NBA season. So what stands out about Shawn Kemp being ritually humiliated and, you know, now being involved in a supposedly a shooting, and this happening right before the finals are set, is, do you know where Shawn Kemp was born at? Shawn Kemp was born in Indiana. And here's where this gets really interesting. From the, oh shoot, did I take it down? No, it's right here. From the supposed shooting March 8th to him pleading guilty yesterday, May 27th, was 811 days later. And that's the 141st prime number. And 141 matters in a big way with the Knicks-Pacers series. Again, if you're not following the NBA, Indiana's on the verge of going to the finals, and so are the Thunder, who used to be the Sonics, Kemp's old team. They're both up 3-1 in the series. They just have to win one more game to be there. But the name Richard Barnett equals 141, and that's better known as Dick Barnett, but that's his name, Richard Barnett. He was born in Indiana, and he was the Knicks' great. And he just died at the start of the playoffs. And game one between Indiana, where he's from, and his Knicks was on the 141st day of the year. And then I start looking at things like this, and I start wondering, I'm like, I wonder if Shawn Kemp could possibly be related to Richard Barnett. And I think it's very likely because, again, pro sports are a father-son league. We saw it again last night. Last night, the Knicks got their 211th all-time postseason loss. John Halliburton was allowed to attend the game. That was the big story, the father of Tyrese Halliburton. The Knicks picked up their 211th postseason loss last night, and the series became tied 125-125 between the Knicks and Pacers all-time after Halliburton tied up game one with the crazy comeback, 125-125. Again, this stuff is this scripted. But like I've shown a million times too, the ritualistic shaming, the ritualistic deaths for these championships every year. When Dick Barnett died at 88 at the start of the finals, and keep in mind he went to Fordham, right? Fordham's Trump school, and I've written posts and talked about in the past how I call Fordham the 88 Jesuit University. If the Knicks get finished off by the Pacers, and it could happen as soon as their next game because it could become a 4-1 series on Carmelo Anthony's 41st birthday, the former Knick, when Knicks is 41. It's a possible scenario, but if the Knicks do lose this series, they are going to fall to 8-8 in the Eastern Conference Finals all time. 8-8. And, you know, in their first series, we thought that they would win the series in their 88th game of the year in tribute to Barnett, who had just died at 88. But yeah, watching how all this stuff comes together, It makes me think that Shawn Kemp probably has some kind of relation to Barnett. They're both from Indiana. They're both basketball stars. They've synced up this ritual through the same number. Yeah, again, this knowledge will take you so far. What we need is the insider who can come out and be like, you know what, you got us. You're right. We have been breeding these men. Kemp is related to Barnett. It's just like I told you a long time ago. I told the world a long time ago before this channel had even taken off. Back before the first time the Warriors and Cavs ever met in the finals, I said why it was going to be Warriors-Cavs that year and what it had to do with Nate Thurmond, who I swear is LeBron's father. And Nate Thurmond wore 42 for the Warriors and the Cavs, and LeBron James equals 42. LeBron scored a season-high 42 that year on February 26, which was exactly 98 days before Game 1 of the NBA Finals, National Basketball Association 98. I was pointing these things out, and back then I didn't have these reverse ciphers, so I was really just looking at these two ciphers right here. It's pretty much what I looked at every day, was these two ciphers. This one, and especially the dark blue one. I mean, 90% of my work back then was in that cipher, but I'd already noticed major patterns with LeBron in 114 and 42. And I used to always talk about the rituals LeBron would do versus the Indiana Pacers with 114. That's where the Knicks' prayer is right now. The Knicks are 0-14 for their history and series where they began 0-2 in the series. They're 0-14 when they start 0-2. If they came back and won, which is possible, they would be 1-14. Just go back and look through the playoffs this year. Look through their regular season. Just look through the Pacers' history and see how much this number 114 comes up with this team. What was it? It was just days ago again it happened. Game 2, the Pacers won with 114. Number comes up a lot. When Indiana closed out Cleveland, LeBron's old team, they won with 114. You learn how in Gematria these teams are connected to numbers. You see how they happen. God, I'm trying to remember the former Hardy. When Hardy was found dead floating in the Indiana River right before LeBron, I believe, closed out Indiana in the playoffs that year, back when he was still on Cleveland. It was a big 114 ritual. And I was pointing that out. I said, yeah, this 114 is a serious pattern with LeBron. But anyway, just coming back, I wish my channels hadn't been deleted, because you'd be able to go back and be like, see how few views this got in 2015? But look at what happened the next year when we nailed all these futures, how big the views were just a year later. You know, the video I did on LeBron facing Curry in the finals with Nate Thurmond in 2015, the video probably had maybe 30 comments at the most, which is funny because that's more comments than I get on an average video now. That's how bad things are in 2025, thanks to the algorithm and censorship. But almost the whole comment section was that I was wrong and it was going to be Derrick Rose's year. That was like the consensus with all the basketball fans, that the NBA, even if it is rigged, they owe something to Derrick Rose. It's Derrick Rose's time to shine. I was like, okay, we'll see, because this 42 is no joke in 98 days. What happened 98 days later? Game 1, and what happened in that game? It went to overtime, 98-98. And LeBron, he's got that tattoo on his back too that says Chosen One, and I was pointing that out at the time also. I was saying he's the Chosen One. All scripted around him. But remember what happened. LeBron lost to Curry in that finals, and then the next year LeBron faced Curry again, which we said was going to happen before the season began. And we were pointing out how Game 7 was on the real King James's birthday. And sure enough, LeBron won the finals on the real King James's birthday, as predicted, coming back from down 3-1. And I had so many haters in my comments that year. You know, it was a year later, and now I had a ton of comments and nothing but haters. Oh, what happened to LeBron? It's over. 3-1, he's done. And I was saying, I don't think so. Now it lines up for King James's birthday. It's the only way he can win. And they're the 33rd team to be in this situation. I believe it was for the finals at the time. The 33rd team to be down 3-1 in the finals. First to ever come back. Cleveland's got that 78-33 like NBA finals too. But the point I'm making about when LeBron came back and won on the real King James's birthday, remember that last game was the 103rd game of the season for the Cavs, which is the 27th prime number. LeBron scored 27 in that game. And then 27 days later, Nate Thurmond died. And looked like quite the ritual. We call that the ritual number 27. You know, first his Warriors beat his Cavs, then his Cavs beat his Warriors, and his son comes out on top, who's LeBron, drops 27, and then dad's dead 27 days later. And don't forget, you just saw Kobe's father die on the anniversary of LeBron's father dying. And remember, Kobe Bryant is 41, just like King is 41. Golden State's 41. Kobe's dad was drafted by Golden State. Kobe retired 41 years later. LeBron won the finals 41 weeks after 41 weeks after his own birthday in the year Kobe died, and he won it on Father-Daughter Day. A lot of other 41s with Kobe's career, too. When he scored 81, the rest of his team scored 41. When he scored 60 in his last game, the rest of the team scored 41. He came off the cart with 4.1 seconds. But yeah, and then Kobe's father ends up dying on the anniversary of Nate Thurman's death, who's LeBron's father. At least so it seems. They look a lot alike. So now that's why I look at them like this. Like, to me, Shawn Kemp doesn't look nearly as much like Dick Barnett as LeBron looks like Nate Thurmond, or as much as Anthony Edwards looks like Michael Jordan, or Jimmy Butler looks as much like Michael Jordan. And I loved how they had Edwards and Butler play each other this year. But yeah, this is what's going on in the NBA. All these former players' sons, like Draymond Green's clearly Magic Johnson's son. They even both went to Michigan State. So many former players' sons in the league. And as we know, sometimes you have children and they look a lot like you, and sometimes you have children and they don't look that much like you. But in some cases, it's obvious. Like, if you can't see that that's Michael Jordan's son, you might be blind, or maybe you just don't know who Michael Jordan is. But yeah, if there was somewhere where I could place a bet and it could be proven that Shawn Kemp's related to Dick Barnett, I'd place that bet right now. Because, like I'm saying, what are the odds that it would follow this perfect pattern? From Indiana, played for Seattle. Barnett from Indiana, played for New York. His name equals 141. The series between New York and his home state starts on the 141st day of the year. And now this was Shawn Kemp. Again, it's really business as usual is what it is. Now, here's the other thing that's funny about Shawn Kemp. He's going to be sentenced on August 22nd, right? Let's see if they have it. You can look it up in other articles. They have it here. Shawn Kemp sentencing August 22nd. That's the anniversary of Huey P. Newton dying, for the record. All right. I just read this in the article I looked at earlier. Okay. Why is it not going to come up now? Unless the article I read earlier was bunk and they changed it. We covered this morning on the Patreon, that it said his sentencing date was August 22nd. Huh. I find it odd that that's not coming up right now, but that's definitely what it said this morning on our Patreon stream. Anyway, assuming that is still true and that wasn't some misprint that we were reading, August 22nd is the day leaving 131 days remaining, right? And what have I always taught about with 131 in sports? We call it the championship number. Championship equals 131, just like Super Bowl equals 131. If you spell out 57 as a word, it equals 131. World Series equals 57. NBA Finals equals 57. Again, just big-time championship number. And let's go back and look at the Thunder box scores here and see what they scored in their very first game in the postseason this year in the series versus Memphis. Going back, very first game of the playoffs. 131, right? They win 131-80. First game of the playoffs. And keep in mind, the playoffs began the day before April 19th, which is the day in history the Oklahoma City bombing occurred. Think about that, too. So, again, nothing but jokes and rituals and tributes to history. The same secret societies that control your sports leagues, control your government, control your news. And again, through the Kabbalah red thread of life, they bring it all together. If you've ever seen those movies where they're making fun of conspiracy theorists, or TV shows where they have a board with a whole bunch of red threads connecting everything, the idea of the red thread comes from Kabbalah, which is the same place the practice of coding numbers into words comes from. And again, if you want to go back and look at the Eagles box scores, here, I just want to pull this up too, because this was a major sign for the Eagles here. Well, that's last year. Let me see if I can get to last year. Hold on. I just want you to see Jalen Hurts' box score from his first playoff game last year. Let's see. Eagles 2025 box scores. And notice, too, just like Chiefs lose with 22, getting their 22nd postseason loss. Rams lose with 22. Eagles score 22 versus the Packers. Eagles equals 22. They just had the vote. 22 votes in favor of the Eagles being allowed to do the tush push in the upcoming season, and they did that 101 days after they won the Super Bowl when Philadelphia equals 101. Philadelphia also equals 65. Later that same day, Jim Irsay dies at 65. 15 minutes before tip-off for the Eastern Conference Finals, where he was the owner of the team in Indiana when the finals start on 6-5. And again, the coach of the Pacers, Carlisle, is 65 years old and has the same birthday as Philadelphia, the day leaving 65 days left in the year. And he won the NBA championship in the 65th NBA season, which was 14 years ago with Dallas. And funny enough, he was 51 years old when he won it with Dallas, and we call the Mavericks the 51 team. They were established on May 1st. You might recall last year when they transferred the ownership to Miriam Adelson, who owns a bunch of casinos. They did it in a big 51-150 ritual. It was 150 weeks after her husband died and 51 days from her birthday. She replaced a puppet. What's his name? What's the guy's name? Mark Cuban, little puppet. Another one of these puppets on the world stage. But yeah, again, in their first game in the wild card round versus the Packers, Jalen Hurts, 131 passing yards en route to the Super Bowl. And again, you just pay attention year after year, you'll see how scripted the games are from the final score to the box score. What are the 22 is not a real common football score. Not a real common score. 3 out of 4 games in the playoffs, including the Chiefs getting the 22nd postseason loss. And just like I said, when I started this work, sometimes I wonder if I should just go back to these 2 ciphers for sports, because it is less to look at, and they have made things a lot harder. They've changed the game. We still do really well, but they've changed the game. When I decoded sports a decade ago, these were the only 2 ciphers I ever looked at for anything. But yeah, that's why it's also sad that people look at this and they're like, I think it's all a coincidence. It's like, how can it be a coincidence, moron? 3 out of 4 games, 22, not that common of a score, and then the Chiefs get their 22nd postseason loss, and then you're watching the offseason, 22 votes to keep the tush push intact? The tush push. Like I've always said, you guys, everything is also kind of a joke about you getting sodomized. Think about who runs this whole show. Again, they're playing for the Jesuit Lombardi Trophy. The Jesuits serve the church that's known for sodomy. They got you watching men in tights bent over for your whole weekend for a lot of you, because you're watching it all Saturday, all Sunday. Men bent over in tights. Oh, man, I hope they keep the tush push this year. I like the tush push. I think if I was out there and I was a coach, I'd do the tush push. What's wrong with you guys? Thank you to exposing feds and, I think it says feds and criminals. I can't see the end part of the name, but I'm guessing it says feds and criminals. Shout out to Nathan as well. Appreciate the generosity. So yeah, those are things that are buzzing. You know what showed up in my feed yesterday? Another thing that's buzzing in my own mind. I saw this kid. His face looked no older than 10. His voice sounded older than 10, though. His name was Dean something. I want to say his last name started with a W. Dean W. He's this little kid, and he's just debating adult mega fans, Trump guys, and he is just destroying them. And it's being promoted by YouTube. And a part of I was looking at a stream for how you even connect with him to debate him, but he's also just a major. He's a major tool of the political machine. I started to wonder if some of these remember the kid that I called in a little bit ago? It looked like you could fly him like a kite at the beach. He was so skinny, his whole body's like bones. But I showed you the clip of calling into his show and how he got real rude and snarky with me and hung up and banned me from the show. Because I was like, listen, I don't want to call in and debate Trump. What I want to debate is what you're advocating for, the policies and the politicians you're standing behind, and he didn't want anything to do with that. And I just got banned from the show. But yeah, I'm starting to see there's all these young kids on YouTube destroying the mega retards, which isn't hard to do. Again, there's a reason Trump said he's thankful for all the dumbasses, because that's what everyone is who voted for him. But now they're promoting little kids on YouTube destroying these really stupid adults. A part of me is wondering if these might be our future politicians. You know, they're probably born into some family. They are well educated because no matter how little this kid is, he is smart. He's very articulate, and I mean, he is whooping the shit out of these adults. It might all be scripted, but probably not because I mean, seriously, you look at the Trump base. We're talking about the dumbest of the dumbest. Anyway, it does annoy me though, seeing how big their views are and how much money they're getting, because really they are part of the problem too. They might expose how dumb the Trump people are and how these people really do stand for nothing and supporting things that they don't even understand. But at the same time, it bothers me seeing little kids getting all these views and getting a shit ton of money too, just getting $200 super chat after $100 super chat after $50 super chat. It's like, God, what, this kid's going to be a millionaire by the time he's age 11? He's going to be a millionaire just doing another week of these broadcasts. But yeah, I had to look up the kid yesterday. I had his name all the time. It might be Whittier or Whitaker. I forget his last name is, but he's got a full Wikipedia page. And I was like, wait a minute, how's this little kid have a Wikipedia page for beating up on Trump retards on YouTube? Do you guys remember years ago when a lot of people were trying to make me a Wikipedia page and they'd instantly delete it? It's like, wait a minute. How am I not deserving of a Wikipedia page when I broke a code that nobody ever broke before, called more sports futures than anyone's ever called in their life, have systematically proven how rigged the system is? Like, is this not worthy of a Wikipedia page? Is beating Trump retards, even at any age, whether you're 10 years old or whatnot, is that more worthy? I mean, that's not even a hard thing to do. I was watching the kid's video yesterday. He made a really dumb argument about abortion, which I was like, well, he is a little kid, so... But he compared getting surgery for having cancer to an abortion. He was saying they're the same thing. I was like, I don't think that's a very good argument. I don't think that's going to win over anybody. But other than that, he really did mop the floor with the Trump tards. So anyway, if you guys know what I'm talking about, this Dean W. kid, it might... I don't know if he's even worth promoting because he is part of the establishment and part of the problem, but it is kind of funny to watch a little kid absolutely demolish adults. And does show you kind of how pathetic the Trump people are. Unless it is, well, God, no, I don't think it is staged because it does remind me of the Trump people. They really are dumb. Let me see. What else is buzzing right now in the news? Trump says he'll give Putin 2 more weeks to see if he's serious about peace. Didn't Trump say he was going to end the war on day 1? Because he did say that about 500 times. We know this is all part of the same Jesuit scheme. Hey, it just annoys me, all of our accomplishments. I mean, I don't think too many other people on YouTube said what day the war was going to start and we're right on the money. I don't think anyone else proved exactly who's behind it like we did. Same people behind everything else. The Jesuits. I keep hearing Brian, formerly of High Impact Flicks, blame everything on Zionist bankers and say that there's not enough people that have courage to speak truth to power, when Brian has a long track record of making fun of my work and mocking the Jesuits, which actually are provably in control of all of these things. Yeah, Brian's not getting any views anymore on his political channel, unfortunately for him. So it makes me think he's not a shill, but it does also make me think he's just like your typical person with their head way up their ass who thinks everything is the Jews. And it's unfortunate, though, that he won't have a debate about it. And it's also unfortunate that he's kind of a liar and a dishonest person, too, even though he might be the second best truth channel on YouTube. Because he said numerous times that he would never have a conversation with me because I've called him some names in the past, which were warranted. And meanwhile, then he'll debate Owen Benjamin and market the whole thing with a 2-minute trailer of all the names Owen Benjamin called him. It's like, oh, so you'll debate Owen Benjamin and market his ad hominem attacks on you, but you won't do the same thing with... And let's not forget, when they did debate, they spent the first 15 minutes of their debate actually making fun of yours truly. It's like, huh, that's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. But yeah, I really would like Brian to have that conversation someday and put his money where his mouth is. Let's see if it really is the small hats behind everything, because I don't think you're going to be able to build a very good argument. I think it's going to be easily demolished. I mean, we have a track record of day after day how the Jesuits got their hands on all this. Entire faces of the scandemic Jesuit, founders warning about the Jesuits, Lincoln blaming the Civil War on the Jesuits, everything synced up with the Pope and the Superior General. We're on the Jesuits' calendar. I mean, where is your argument? I don't think you got one. I think that's the real problem. Yeah, and the other problem for me personally is just I really do feel unmotivated these days to even make videos or do lives because I just get tired of looking at the shit views. I'm just like, this is pathetic. I mean, I have to make 100 videos now to get the same amount of views I would have gotten one video 8 years ago. Literally, that's not an exaggeration. It's like I got to make 100 videos to amount the same amount of views, and realize it's not the same thing, right? Because it's the same people watching the 100 videos that accumulate the larger view total, rather than a lot of different people seeing the video. And for everyone out there, like, try this platform. No, Rumble's for Republicans only. I'm not interested. I can't get any views on there. TikTok, I've already been totally shadow banned on there in the past, and I hear a lot of people saying they're getting censored on TikTok, so I think why bother? I finally got something with X going. You know, we're starting to get 2,000 views a stream on X and then just get deleted. So yeah, it is just aggravating. And yeah, I just realized the cavalry isn't coming either. The cavalry would have came a long time ago if they were coming. I also think shame on all the people that abandon this community and this work. IG Endgame Exposure says, cover the new COVID variant NB181. Well, it's kind of like 181, the 42nd prime. We know the VACCINE word is 42. Dean Withers, yeah, that is it. That's it. Open up. It's Dean Withers. Yeah, he looks like he's 10 years old. And somehow already has a Wikipedia page. He's live right now. Yeah, why wouldn't he be, man? He's making a fortune. He'd probably make another $1 million today. Maybe what I'll start doing is calling in here and pretend like I'm mega, and I'll just pretend like I'm part of the Church of Satan, and that's why I support Trump.
What the hell is going on?
I'll call in as a Satanist. I'll call in as a Trump guy.
Today. What's up, Formidable? I saw you talking
Here's
about
this kid right here. I'll put him on here for a little bit.
Chat, I had to bring you up. I'm guessing you're MAGA. Do you support Trump?
Sure. No, I just want to, I'm curious
before you speak
about the course that you sold.
Before you speak, could you tell me how old you are?
21.
21. You got a TV playing in the background. Can you mute that?
Yeah,
or go
I got
into
you.
A different
Hold on.
room?
Nah, I got you.
Sweet. And you are MAGA?
Sure. I wouldn't even say that.
Oh.
Does anyone know how to get on this kid's stream? I'm going to call in as a member of the Church of Satan and try and stump him, because I'll bring it together with how the Democrats and Republicans are all in on it and see how he responds. How do you get into this kid's show? Hold on. Don't forget, Obama told the joke on the Church of Satan's 45th birthday that Trump would be number 45. Because, see, he has this call-in show, but there's nowhere to call in. That's why I'm like, are these even real callers, or is the shit staged? How are they calling in? There's nowhere.
Well, unfortunately, we are just looking to talk to people that are MAGA. So I do appreciate you for coming up. We're going to move on to the next guest. Kindle, everyone, just give us a minute. Make sure if you are in that queue that does indeed mean that you support Trump, everybody. So at this point in time, we're going to get that next guest up here. We got Kindle loading in. We got Snoop Dogg loading in. We got Lily loading in. Look at this. We got all these guests loading in. Kindle and Snoop Dogg and Lily, are you guys both MAGA?
Yes, I am. No, but I really want to say hi. I love you so much.
Have a good one, Lily. So I appreciate you. So Snoop Dogg Spirit, you said you're MAGA. Now, why would you support like the worst president of your life?
If anybody knows how to get on this kid's show, I need to know. I want to call in and do these jokes.
Because, well, illegal immigrants are illegal, and we're trying to put them back where they belong.
So mass deportation is why you support him. Okay, let's first see if you're consistent with your logic here, because you said that we need to put them back where they belong because they did something illegal and they violated the law and they committed a crime when they entered into this country. And you just think that's heinous. Like breaking the law is like terrible, right?
To an extent, yes.
So listen, you must hate Trump for breaking the law to illegally deport the undocumented immigrants, like he did when he violated Abrigo Garcia's constitutional rights and illegally deported him to CCOT in El Salvador, right?
No, I don't agree with that.
Perfect. And you must also hate him for being a 34-count convicted felon. You must hate him for being held civilly liable for rape. You must hate him for calling for the termination of the Constitution. You also must hate him for pardoning violent offenders that try to kill cops on January 6th and calling the Patriots. And you must hate him for his most recent pardons of people that pled guilty to tax evasion and tax fraud. And the only reason he pardoned them is because their mom donated him $1 million 3 weeks ago.
No, that's not actually fully accurate.
Okay.
At all.
I mean, what is fully accurate?
He is putting offenders where they fucking belong. They are not, for one, they broke the law by coming in here, so it does not matter how they get out of here. They're not supposed to be here. So, and a lot of the things put against him, like my mom's an immigrant. She's not from here, but she came here legally, okay? She was not from here. She came here the way she's supposed to. And it's not like logical.
So you're fine with like taking human rights away from undocumented immigrants. Did you know that that's a tenet of fascism? It's the second tenet. It's defined in the literature as a disdain for human rights.
See, I saw this kid keep going to this yesterday about how the Republican Party's fascist, but how aren't both parties fascist? They're both very highly aligned with corporations. It's like the Republicans are pro-Walmart and the Democrats are pro-Costco and Target. And not to mention the House of Representatives has the fascies on the wall. Again, the root word of fascism. Yeah, if you want to check him out, though, he really does destroy some of the callers. But at the same time, I don't see any way to join his show. So maybe it is all just one big setup. KLU says they're real callers. KLU, do you know how to get on this kid's show? Because I do want to call in as mega satanic. Hey, what Goody J just said is exactly what I thought, Goody J. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, and he was worse yesterday. He got a haircut since I saw his stream yesterday or whenever that stream was from. I thought he looked exactly like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I was like, look at this little kid with a Shaggy haircut. Are you kidding me? This is the shit getting the views? Tush equals 22 as well, too. Yeah. Yeah, it all makes sense, doesn't it? You young people use the word dead ass a lot. And back in the day, dead ass meant a totally different thing than how you guys use it. Did you guys see the big escalation with Trump and Putin was on the 145th day of the year? Just reminding you who brought you this entire war, the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. On the 145th day was the terrible bombing. And don't forget how connected the whole thing is to Israel, too, with the 14/5 establishment date. If you guys don't have a whole lot else to say and nobody knows how to get in, I'll open up the phone line. We can take some calls. I do want to figure out how to get on this kid's show, though, and see if we can stump him. What's he going to do when we start? Because there's a whole lot of things that he's actually wrong about. He thinks January 6th was a very, very horrible day for America. It's like, dude, watch our friend Woo's news coverage of January 6th, because he did a great job showing how it literally was staged theatrics, a production, which everyone should know about the news. At this point in the game, Colin is that number on the screen, and I just about got it set up all the way. Yeah, if you guys do want to call in, it is that 509 number. I got 30 minutes until I got to be somewhere, so I do have time to take calls today. And let me see if we got this right. What's up, Jay?
I'm just tired of all the like social it's so sad because you got these people talking about where they didn't come here illegally, so therefore they committed a crime. And it's like, if somebody's just here minding their business, working, not doing any fuck shit, these niggas would still be like, oh, nah, they gotta go because they didn't come here illegally. You know, my parents came here legally, so therefore it's fine. It's just like, I'm just so sick of all this inorganic, man-made fucking bullshit where it's like, oh, well, you gotta pass through this system, you gotta pass through this, you gotta do this. And it's just, it's frustrating to live in the world and realize how bullshit all this stuff is, and just see everybody being so fucking like conditioned by this shit. They can't even fucking like understand like how this shit isn't even fucking real, and we're just giving this shit legitimacy over us, and it's like it doesn't deserve it. Like my cousin, for example, he got arrested recently for having a suspended license that he didn't even know was suspended. They literally never even told him that shit. And then he had to go to jail because of that shit. And I'm just like, he wasn't speeding, he wasn't putting anybody's life in danger, he wasn't doing any other shit. He wasn't doing anything that was an actual crime. But because he didn't know to renew a literal piece of fucking paper, it's a fucking card, bro. It's a card. It's a piece of material. Oh, now you gotta go to jail because of that shit. All this technical ass fucking bullshit. Like it's maddening. I was at work the other day, and I literally got penalized for having, quote unquote, having my phone out and violating the safety measures because we can't have our phone out. My phone was vibrating. Somebody kept calling me. I slid it out my pocket to hang up, and then I put it right back in my pocket. And the manager, and then I got a fucking letter for this shit. I got put on my final warning. I'm like, I've been good this entire time, do my fucking job better than any of these sorry ass niggas. And then you literally saw me put it right back in my pocket, so you know I wasn't just on my phone, but I still got penalized for it. And then yesterday I'm working, and then one of the managers is working, and this bitch is like literally, while she's like handling the fucking boxes, she's like literally just on her fucking phone, literally on the phone with somebody, calling them and laughing and having a good old fucking conversation with them. And I'm like, nobody's gonna say anything to her because she's a fucking supervisor, she's a manager. So all that bullshit about, oh, this is for the fucking safety, it's all bullshit. Like we saw with the lockdowns, the rules are not for everybody, they're only for us. These niggas could go outside and not have a mask on and not do all this other shit, even though they don't want to enforce it. But if they get caught doing it, oh no, it's no big deal. They can do the shit. It's only when you do it that it's a fucking problem. You got a fucking suspended license? Oh, you got to go to jail. Yeah, you got to go. Even if you didn't know it was suspended, yeah, this piece of paper, yeah, it expired. You know, it's like none of this shit is even fucking real. This is man-made bullshit. And they created to keep control over you and also scam you because they force you to pay money to renew these fucking licenses. I'm like, this is a fucking piece of paper. Nobody is affected by me not renewing this shit. But like, I'm just so sick of the fucking bullshit. It's like, how do we let so much stupid shit have control and power over us?
Well, that's the answer. People allowing them to be controlled by authorities. And like I said, that all they do is keep giving you things. So you're constantly fighting with some other group of people or pointing your finger at this group. And you're not looking at what's actually happening to you. You're having to pay all these taxes and all these fees to this oppressive government that just abuses us. Yeah, like you said, some states you get a license like Arizona. It used to be this way in Arizona where once you got a license, you didn't have to keep renewing it. But in a lot of states, you have to renew it every 2 years, every 4 years, pay a big fee each time. Some states you got to redo your tabs every year, but not every state. It's a state by some states, tabs are super expensive. Some states, not so much. But yeah, it is a joke. It's like, didn't they get enough when we paid for the car and paid taxes? Wasn't that enough right there? I mean, it was a fortune in taxes just from buying the car. Now, yeah, exactly. I remember out here in Washington, I bought the hybrid car when I was doing the rideshare thing, and the hybrid version cost almost $10,000 more. So that's almost $2,000 more in taxes to the state based on the tax rate. And again, then what do they do 2 years later? Then 2 years, they assign a new fee to renew your tabs if you have a hybrid because they're not collecting as much off the gas. So now you have to pay an extra $200 to renew your tabs a year because you have a high. It's like, okay, it's just maddening. It's just, and again, nobody really does resist. They just accept it. You know, they say things like, well, that's the one thing of certainty in life besides death is taxes.
This is how it is.
And like, the other point I'm making too is you look on YouTube right now, it's like black fatigue. Notice how YouTube allows that to be a viral topic that you can talk about black fatigue. Imagine people want to talk about Jewish fatigue. Can you imagine that being allowed on the platform? Of course not. You'd be deleted. You'd lose your whole channel. There wouldn't be. You'll never see it viral on YouTube. Jewish fatigue. That'll never happen. But black fatigue. That's okay. Huh?
I said they wouldn't even allow the video to get uploaded.
Exactly. Instantly shadow banned. Instant strike. Instant suspension. No, that's why it's annoying that people even get in and participate in this shit. And then you start to see just how it really does work. How these people are all under mind control. Almost everybody's life experience is just watching screens and learning about supposed other groups of people through screens and what the authorities told them. And then it becomes their own reality and they believe it. And then they just start regurgitating it like it's true. It's like somebody in the chat's bitching about how I go on that Chaotic Truth show. I don't like anybody on there, but I don't like the poison they put out in the world. And what I think I show every time I go on there is how easily they're all debunked and how none of them have anything to stand on. That guy that goes on there that looks just like a Santa Claus with meth teeth who gets on there and bitches about black people every day. I went on there and I said, why do you do that? This is all you have to do with your life is go on and talk about how bad black people are. I say, tell me what a black person ever did to you. And he's like, nothing. You get online and you bitch about black people every day and you can't give me one example of anything a black person ever did to you? He's like, well, just look at Chicago. What's going on in Chicago? From the news, from watching what's going on with black people on the news about Chicago. Now, and then that same guy, what's funny about that same guy is he'll say everything on the news is bullshit, but the only thing he chooses to believe in on the news is all the shaming of black people. And then I point out to him, I say, look at all the black stuff you're talking about right now.
Fucking racist ass conservatives are.
Yeah, but that's why it's annoying. And again, government. Govern means control. Ment means mental. Control the mental. That you just see it. I mean, everybody is under literally mind control from the authorities.
Yeah, I just made a video about a reaction to a woman. It was the Hodge twins, and they were talking about a woman that you might. I think you commented on it. I don't know. But I think you did comment on it. But it's like, this woman literally did nothing wrong. There's no proof that she actually did anything. And then you just see all these people in the fucking comment section, and the high school comment section, just literally these are supposed to be the people that are for freedom. But then you look at the comment section, and nobody's criticizing the cop or calling out the cop for what he did, because he literally pulls the woman over, and then the woman is like, "Why did you pull me over?" And the cop doesn't even. He literally says, because I asked you to. And I'm like, that's not how it should go. And then he forces her door open to try to pull out the car. And she's like, why do I need to get out of the car? I haven't done anything that warrants for me to have to get out of the car, which is true. She literally got brutalized by the fucking police. But then you see all these niggas in the comments, all these racist ass people in the conversation talking about making all these black stereotype jokes, talking about how she's loud and ghetto, how she blah blah blah. She can't stay calm. And I'm like, who reasonably should be calm when somebody just forced their door open for no reason? These are supposed to be the people that's for minimal government intervention. But then when it comes to shit like this, they're quick to just well, you shouldn't be fucking resisting. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. 13%, but commit over half of the violent crime. It's just like you see how these people are programmed to be fucking racist and to be fucking inconsistent on their own fucking views, and they don't even they're too dumb to even realize this.
Yeah, people are dumb and their minds are controlled by the state. And again, it goes back to that quote about, show me the child and I'll show you the man. They do get us in the indoctrination centers, most of us at age 5, some of us at age 6. And you just see people's minds are taken. People are illogical. They just believe what they've been told. They haven't really looked into anything, haven't questioned anything. And yeah, I mean, we're trying to break the spell over here, but the reality is we're people like us are few and far between. So for anybody who might come across our message, for every time they come across somebody like us, they're going to come across 100 things that are the exact opposite, and that's doing more on their mental than the people trying to undo the damage.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing you're talking about, the Hodge twins, all these things all these channels that YouTube has made viral, these channels, these black conservatives that are all viral all over YouTube, this is just all part of the agenda. And it just shows you do see a lot of black people have followed suit with it's viral on social media. Oh, maybe there's something to it. It's like, you guys are getting into a political party that's gone way out of their way to make sure people that look like you live in cages for most of their life.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So, yeah.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting, actually. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The real lesson learned is these screens being everywhere have really, again, the phone is smart and the people are dumber and dumber, but it's made the propaganda that more immediate and the mind control that much more powerful, and you see it in society. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say about it. It's sad. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Jay?
All right, I gotta get off.
All right, man.
No, I'm about to. I gotta get off.
All right, you have a good rest of your day. Take care.
All right.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. And you just see the way big tech works too. It's just a bunch of people getting huge views, haven't ever said anything relevant in their life, haven't done anything important, nothing, haven't brought any real knowledge to the table, but they're getting all the attention because the algorithm feeds them, because they want people on the stupidity that they're putting out. Like you just brought up the Hodge twins. It's like, if you don't know who they are, it doesn't matter, but they're one of these viral they're twins. They're not entertaining. They're not funny. They're not interesting. They don't have any relevant anything to say. Just useful idiots. 2 useful idiots is what they are. And that's pretty much all that's viral on YouTube anymore. Just trash, mediocre content. People who haven't done shit for anybody. Well, what's up, 760?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying hello.
Right on. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, I called in, and I guess I missed your show a couple days ago, but I sent a picture. Did you guys get that picture?
Picture of what?
It's a picture of Baja, where there's a road, and it's at the 38-kilometer mark, and it's a hard right turn, and there's all kinds of skid marks, and people crash there all the time. There's another street. You can see all this on Google Earth. You can actually see these kilometer signs. And there's another hard right turn that will kill you. And these are all in straight deserts where the road could go straight for 100 miles. Is that something that you might want to talk about? I got a couple other things about the World Health Organization having a global pandemic agreement now. And there's also a sign in Mexico that says Abriojos 38 kilometers and La Volcana 56 kilometers on the same sign.
The World Health Organization global pandemic, I just about that the other day about how they started working on that right as the Russia-Ukraine story broke, and it didn't really get any attention because everyone was focused on the war. Yeah, it's funny. That's in the news at the same time the new COVID strain is in. And what I was going to point out about the new COVID strain from China is this story broke on 57 date numerology. Remember where 57 fits in? Vaccines 57, like Bill Gates, which is how we predicted that the Moderna stock was going to skyrocket on May 7th, well before it did. And it did, because it got approved for phase 2 testing, the first vaccine in the U.S. to get that approval, which is what caused the... So anyway, vaccine and Bill Gates, and Bill Gates is also part of this WHO treaty. So yeah, look how these stories go hand in hand. We got a new highly infectious strain from China at the same time that this is in the news. I mean, come on, man. Go. About what you're just saying about the mile marker 38. Of course, death is 38. Murder, killing, RIP, pandemic is 38. So is that evidence of the organic side or the power of these numbers? Maybe it is. If you want to tell me more about that, I'd like to look into that too, but I kind of feel like it's secondary to this thing that's more pertinent, the new treaty agreement. I'd rather talk about that. But if you want to give me more information on the mile marker 38, I'll look at that too.
Yeah, it's a kilometer marker, and there's also a place called San Ignacio not far from there.
Okay.
And the San Ignacio, I think, would go in line with the Jesuit priest. But anyway, Zach, you're awesome. I love the show. I've been watching it for a long time. Keep it up. And after hearing your voice on that movie trailer, that was shocking. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, and now there they are putting you on a trailer. So keep up the good work, man. You're awesome, and you've got a friend here.
I appreciate that. By the way, did you see what day that the treaty was adopted?
It was like 2 days ago.
No, it was actually more than that. It was on the very Jesuit Cannonball Day, the day that has to do with Ignatius Loyola getting shot. That's what day the Who posted about it. Yeah. So this is what I mean. Brian of High Impact Flicks, when you're out there, buddy, why do you keep denying this and mocking this and keep blaming it on small hats when it's very obvious who actually runs the world? I mean, are you kidding me? The new shot up world treaty from the WHO on the Jesuit day to remember their leader getting shot? I mean, come on, man. This is a joke. Oh, here. Look at this. Look at this. The landmark decision by the 78th World Health Assembly culminates more than 3 years. Jesuit 78. Let's not forget how the pandemic was declared 78.
Countries signed up.
But again, Wuhan coronavirus is also 78, and the pandemic was declared 78 days after Jesuit Fauci's birthday. It's the same shit again. Unbelievable.
Right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's right in our face all the time.
Wow. Well, hey, thanks. I didn't realize that they'd finished this. I knew they were working on it. And it's funny, that's probably the day I brought it up. It was about then that I was talking about it, and I didn't even realize that that was the day they were reaching the agreement. Unbelievable.
Right. And then Anonymous just comes out the other day where they said that something really bad's going to happen in 38 days. And I thought to myself, what the hell? Anyway, that date is 6/30.
June 3rd.
So maybe that's when they're going to come out with their bird flu. And then I also picked up the other day, I think it was later this morning or yesterday, that all the champions are birds these days, like Philadelphia Eagles, and then all the soccer in Europe was all a bunch of birds. And I'm thinking, what are they talking about, the bird flu again? Is that what they're trying to talk about?
Very possibly. Very possibly. So...
yeah, that one kind of shocked me that all these birds are winning, these championships in soccer. So anyway, once again, Zach, keep it up. I look for you every day. You're awesome. And, man, keep your head down. I think they're gunning for you.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, you take care.
Take care. Yeah, just all the stupid stuff in the chat. If any of you stupid people want to call in and do something besides trolling and try and make a point, like mocking, like, oh yeah, just because there's a shooting in South Carolina the weekend of Memorial Day, which came out of South Carolina, that you think that's the Jesuits. Actually, in that video, I pointed out how it was the Scottish Rite, but they are very associated since they do share the motto with the Jesuits in Marum Dei Gloriam at the 32nd degree, like there's 32 sun rays on the Jesuit Order's logo, and of course Jesuit priests wrote a lot of the rites for the Scottish Rite. But this right here, you guys, this is actually the top story. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? A new World Health Assembly adopts historic pandemic agreement. And remember what this is about. Bill Gates spelled it out right around the same time the Russia-Ukraine war said. He said it was about making it so that people have to get the vaccines a lot faster in the next pandemic. And don't forget that when COVID started, Netflix, remember one day after the first case of cooties was confirmed in Bill Gates' backyard in Seattle, the first case in the world outside of China, that was the day Netflix debuted Bill Gates' documentary, The Next Pandemic. That's what this was about. When he talked about the next pandemic, they want to make sure everybody gets vaccines a lot faster. World Health Assembly adopts historic pandemic agreement to make the world more equitable and safer from future pandemics. Yeah, and like I said, you guys, my twin sister neighbors who I lived next to when I lived in Seattle, unfortunately, they got the pokey dokes. I felt bad when I found out they did. They called to tell me they got and wondered if I got it. And I just realized I hadn't reached out to them in some time and told them, what I'd been telling everybody else, why to stay away from these things when they come out. And again, one of the sisters nearly died a little more than a year ago. She's barely hanging on. She has major health problems. She doesn't work anymore. But her sister, who was taking care of her, just died from a heart attack. And not that old, 63 years old. That's not that old. They were perfectly fine people last time I saw them, which I haven't seen them in the flesh since I moved in 2018. But women having heart attacks. Both sisters had heart attacks. I never heard of women ever having heart attacks since this thing came out. Agreement's adoption follows 3 years of intensive negotiation launched due to gaps and inequities identified in national and global COVID-19 response. Agreement boosts global collaboration to ensure stronger, more equitable response to future pandemics. Next steps include negotiations on pathogen access and benefit sharing system. Member states of the World Health Organization today formally adopted, again today, it is Cannonball Day, May 20th. Adopted by consensus, the world's first pandemic agreement. Let's just see for the record what pandemic agreement equals. Let's just see. Pandemic agreement. Literally equals 153 like Jesuit order does. Like the Illuminati, which was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. Okay. I'm sure that's just a coincidence too, on the very Jesuit day, that it just works out so perfect. And again, 78th, Jesuit 78. The landmark decision by the 78th World Health Assembly culminates more than 3 years of intensive negotiations launched by governments in response to the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and driven by the goal of making the world safer from and more equitable in response to future pandemics. The world, how long? It's not that long. I'll read it all. The world is safer today thanks to the leadership, collaboration, and commitment of our member states to adopt the historic WHO pandemic agreement, said Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, WHO Director General. The agreement is, the WHO Director General. The agreement is a victory for public health, science, and multilateral action. It will ensure we collectively can better protect the world from future pandemic threats. It is also a recognition by the international community that our citizens, societies, and economies must not be left vulnerable to again suffer losses like those endured during COVID-19. Governments adopted the WHO pandemic agreement today in a plenary session of the World Health Assembly, WHO's peak decision-making body. The adoption followed yesterday's approval of the agreement by vote 124 in favor. I know that that's the 93rd composite number, which is a very special number to the occult. 0 objections, 11 abstentions. So there were 135. Just with regards to the whole Illuminati thing, again, that was founded by the Jesuit in Bavaria, which has the 135 connection and also the 54 connection, like Jesuit order. Remember, that's how many cardinals were invited to vote for the Villanova guy, too, and Villanova's also 135. Starting during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, governments from all corners of the world acted with great purpose, dedication, and urgency, and in doing so, exercising their national sovereignty to negotiate the historic WHO pandemic agreement that has been adopted today, said Dr. Teodoro Urbosa, Secretary of the Philippines Department of Health and President of this year's World Health Assembly, who presided over the agreement's adoption. Now that the agreement has been brought to life, we must all act with the same urgency to implement its critical elements, including systems to ensure equitable access to life-saving pandemic-related health products. Isn't it funny how they just want to stay away from the word because they know the word has a negative connotation right now? Maybe they're worried they'll get their whole website banned by Google. As COVID was once a once-in-a-lifetime emergency, the WHO pandemic agreement offers a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build on lessons learned from that crisis and ensure people worldwide are better protected if a future pandemic emerges. Isn't it annoying how the authorities can just control information and just steer people's minds? Like, at this point in history, there's all the proof in the world that the jabs didn't help anyone out. They killed a lot of people. They damaged them. They gave them turbo cancers, myocarditis, accelerated heart rhythms. Again, that's the proof. They make it seem like it's rare that there are side effects. everyone I know that got the thing, except for my sister, says they would never get it again. They definitely didn't like it. My sister's just so hard-headed and stupid that she'll ignore the fact that she's sick all the time now and continue to get boosters. Well, now that they're changing the protocol, maybe she won't. But again, it's just really annoying. It's just like my neighbors. I told you, they're both my age. They both have accelerated heart rates since they got the shot. And they both will also tell you that they both got COVID within a week of getting the shot. They hadn't had it until they got the shots. Then they got it. Both of them, husband and wife. Which again reminds me of my only story of getting the flu shot. I got the flu shot one time in my life. It was 2007. It was the only year I ever got flu. The WHO pandemic agreement sets out the principles, approaches, and tools for better international coordination across a range of areas in order to strengthen the global health architecture for pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. This includes through the equitable and timely access to vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics. Regarding national sovereignty, the agreement states that nothing in the WHO pandemic agreement shall be interpreted as providing the Secretariat of the World. Do you guys, are you guys, like, we just nailed the Derby, right? With the sovereignty related to Secretariat. Isn't this weird? Because the Derby was right before this. Isn't this weird? And remember, that's at Churchill Downs, run by the Jesuits, too. What's up, 917?
Hello?
Hello?
Mr. Hubbard.
That's me.
How are you doing? Are you live streaming right now?
I am live streaming right now.
Oh my goodness. First of all, so much. Last time I saw you was 9/11. You came to New York. That was before your sweet baby was born. How sweet lady. How are you? I hope you remember me.
Well, I recognize your voice, but off the top, if you keep talking, perhaps it'll come back to me. But here we are.
Okay. Yeah. Are you talking about the game right now, the Knicks and
Well, I talked about that earlier. Now I'm talking about the new worldwide vaccine mandate by the World Health Organization that passed on Cannonball Day. That's what I'm talking about right now.
Very all of a sudden, this has been implemented.
Right.
And people are just not paying attention.
Correct.
And I called them because I care about you and I hope you're okay. And you're still passionate as ever. And it just still doesn't make sense. And it never will.
What doesn't make sense?
Politics, the socioeconomic status of things. Just yesterday I was looking up the Metcalf situation, the twin who died at a damn football game at the hand of another teenager. Just very bizarre psyops that are happening that will never make sense. That to me are very overtly psyops to incite race riots and to, create anger and frustration.
Yeah, indeed. So still trying to expose the same types of things and wake people up. Nothing's changed. The world's only gotten worse since I was in New York 3 years ago.
Right. And I think if you recall, I was telling you I had a dream about Jamie Foxx, and here we are with the whole Diddy trial. It's just, it's still all very bizarre. I didn't mean to interrupt your live stream. I'm listening on YouTube. Again, I called in because I care about you, and I hope you're okay. And that's the root of what I really wanted to get to.
All right. Well, I appreciate the concern, and thanks for coming out in New York. Hopefully we'll do it again in the future. Appreciate it, 917. You have a good day.
You too.
All right, take care. Okay. Yeah, I'm just like sovereignty, secretary. I'm like, is this some kind of did we hit the Derby thing without getting the full joke? Interpreted as providing the Secretariat of the World Health Organization, including the Director General of the World Health Organization, an authority to direct, order, alter, or otherwise prescribe the national and/or domestic law as appropriate, or policies of any party, or to mandate or otherwise impose any requirements that parties take specific actions, such as ban or accept travelers, impose vaccination mandates or therapeutic or diagnostic measures, or implement lockdowns. Let's read that paragraph one more time. Regarding the national sovereignty, the agreement states that nothing in the WHO pandemic agreement shall be interpreted as providing the Secretariat of the World Health Organization, including the Director General of the World Health Organization, any authority to direct, order, alter, or otherwise prescribe the national and/or domestic law as appropriate or policies of any party, or to mandate or otherwise impose any requirements that parties take specific actions, such as ban or accept travelers, impose vaccination mandates or therapeutic or diagnostic measures, or implement lockdowns. So it's saying it doesn't have the authority over the nation to do that, but at the same time, just like everybody went along with the WHO and their scandemic in 2020, it'd be nothing different this time around either. For anybody out there like, well, Trump got us out of the WHO. Again, puppet Trump went along with everything the WHO did in 2020. Stop falling for the puppet show and that kind of bullshit. Too little, too late by a million miles. The resolution on the WHO pandemic agreement adopted by the World Health Assembly sets out steps to prepare the accord's implementation. It includes launching a process to draft and negotiate a pathogen access and benefit sharing system through an intergovernmental working group. The result of this process will be considered at next year's World Health Assembly. When is that? Next year's World Health Assembly. Let's see if we can get ahead of what they got planned for us. All right, well, that's going on right now. It just ended yesterday, but it sounds like they're talking about 2026. Yeah, okay. It'll be in May next year of 2026. Okay. Once the Assembly adopts the PABS Annex, the WHO pandemic agreement will then be open for signature and consideration of ratification, including by national legislative bodies. After 60 ratifications, the agreement will enter into force. Remember the word order equals 60. The Jesuits, the first decade they were with the church, they had 60 members. Here we are in the time of the 60th election, where Trump sacrificed his wife exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit ignatian year. In addition, member states also directed the IGWG to initiate steps to enable setting up a coordinating financial mechanism for pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response in the global supply chain and logistics network to enhance, facilitate, and work to remove barriers and ensure equitable, timely, rapid, safe, and affordable access to pandemic-related health products for countries in need during public health emergencies of international concern, including pandemic emergencies, and for prevention of such emergencies. According to the agreement, pharmaceutical manufacturers participating in the PAB system will play a key role in equitable and timely access to pandemic-related health products by making available to WHO rapid access targeting 20% of their real-time production of safe, quality, and effective vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics for the pathogen causing the pandemic emergency. The distribution of these products to countries will be carried out on the basis of public health risk and need, with a particular attention to the needs of developing countries. Of course, they want to target the third world poorest people for extermination the most. The WHO Pandemic Agreement is the second international legal agreement negotiated under Article 19 of the WHO Constitution, the first being the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, which was adopted in 2003 and entered into force in 2005. Them doing this in 26, just to remind you guys, COVID's got the 26, virus 26, China 26, 2026. Yeah. I don't think that's too far out of the question. Yeah, isn't it unbelievable that they did this on the big Jesuit Day, Cannonball Day? The mockery. All right. I do got to wrap it up, you guys. Shout out to Young Jay, who donated 2 times. John Mendoza, always with the generous dollars. Exposing feds and criminals, I believe it says. Thank you again. Shout out to Nathan once again. Disambiguation 144. in-game exposure and open up. It is the usual suspects. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's true, Dave. 60 is the 40-second composite number, going with the VACCINE word. Let me see something real quick, because I know they started drafting that thing that was approved on May 20th, the weekend that the war began. But hold on. Biden addressed the nation February 22nd, 2022. Remember, at 2:22 Eastern Time, about Russia going into Ukraine's border, which is the same day that sovereignty horse was born. It's part of the reason we like sovereignty to win the Derby this year. So 38 months and days later, yeah, it was the same time that news broke that happened. I can't remember if it was. It might have been that weekend right after. Oh yeah, we talked about it back then, and I don't have my content from back then because those channels were deleted. But I do know that it was at that same time period that those two things happened. But yeah, 38 months, the plan for the next pandemic, when pandemic's 38, you know? And we know what else is 38. The big death number. And we know what those pokey-dokes have really done. So, and my former neighbor just joined the statistics. And it's just sad because, I mean, just, you know, two really nice ladies, you know, just pleasant people. And the sister who's hanging on, she's the one who nearly died a year ago. I have a feeling that she's not going to live that much longer, sadly. You know, she's very connected to her sister. She already has health problems from barely hanging on a year ago. Yeah, and we were the bad guys. We were the bad guys for warning people. We were the ones putting people's lives in danger. Remember all the shit they said? Making videos about it too. Do your part, protect the elderly, stop spreading misinformation, get your shot. Yeah. How many people still haven't learned the lesson? They still haven't figured out that TV is not the place to go to get the truth. The authorities aren't the people to trust. Hardly anyone. And now they're listening to the biggest retards on social media who just parrot what the authorities say. It's disgusting. All right, you guys, I got to leave it there for now. Thanks again to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to the people who do support the work. And again, thank you to the people who sent over some generous super chats. Till next time, Truth Seeker.